stay conscious, and we'll keep you guys conscious of what's going on in the city. I think that might be Studiata. No. We'll have y'all move up in a second. And then Omaha, we get our guests situated. We're going to be talking about just a little bit of everything. So just chime in, be with us. We're going to be with y'all because we're going to have an interesting show today. We're going to talk about, I don't know, we'll talk about voting, the census, and all this because of the COVID-19. I know we got record ballots out there in regards to mail-in ballots. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing actually. Let me I don't think I got no sound here. Let me stop that. Let me leave his. Let me start all over again. It is Women Winning Wednesday. Oh yeah, we want the women in our lives, to win without a doubt, because they birthed everybody. They birthed everybody. We wouldn't be alive. Shout out to my mama. I thought about her this morning. Just thank for life. Just life. Period. Man, we should. Sometimes we just gotta sometimes just slow up. Just slow up and just appreciate what we have. We always want to pray for what we want, but we already have it. We already have it. I'm just letting you know. We keep praying for what we want, and we already have it. I'm just saying, y'all. I'm just saying. So let's pick one of those prayers off the shelf that I always say. Cause my mama prayed for me, my daddy, sisters. I know I got some extra prayer. I pray for myself too. I know my son, my daughter probably prayed for me. So I know I got some extra prayers on the shelf. So we should be able to go over to the shelf and just pick a prayer off. Oh yeah. We should be able to pick a prayer off the shelf and say, I'm going to use this prayer today. Because I know we prayed up people. This is what we do. We pray every day because, we got despair, we got health disparities that's going on in our community. We dying the most. I know y'all worry about the corona, but we die the most from hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, cancer. We have the highest SID rate in per capita, where our babies are dying at birth. Our STDs are the highest per capita in the country. We have the highest rate of women dying while they having birth. So we got a lot to discuss. We got a lot going on, y'all. And it's just not us. It's just not us at all. It's our neighbors too. One of the things that this coronavirus has exposed is, the isms. The isms. I'm talking about racism, favoritism, because to me, both are equal. Favoritism and racism the same. Nepotism, all that. The only one's good is localism. Oh yeah. Yeah, give me a localism, where we actually love our neighbors. You know what I mean? So, but we really gotta, tell truth to self. My last job was a Women's Center for Advancement, and I ran groups. And one of the things I told my groups, I was blessed, thank you God, was not to lie to yourself. You can expect other people to lie, manipulate, cheat, steal from you. But when you do that to yourself, where you probably need about 9 credits, 16 credits to graduate, you're stealing from yourself. Go ahead, go back to complete your degree. You're stealing from yourself. I'm telling you, y'all, since I got my degree, I come from, that's why I brag all the time. I come from a mama that couldn't read or write. And then I was actually reading the letters I got back from my daddy. Even though he was in the Air Force, he struggled with the pen too. But he was able to write, but he struggled, a lot of misspelled words. And I didn't care, I'm a son, he's writing to his boy. And I see some old letters when I was probably like 9, 10. My daddy write home. You know what I mean? Those letters are in the 70s. He writing back. I found those letters when I was, cleaning up my mother's stuff. And so that's why I came out with a song, child of slave, but what they left, but what they gave. I'm a child of slave, but what they gave. They gave me love. Oh yeah. They gave me ethics and respect. She taught me, and my daddy taught me how to treat women. That's what they gave, but I'm a child of a slave. And that's all right. That's all right, because that's our history. That's our history. And some people don't want to admit their history. They'd rather go and watch movies of somebody else's history. Somebody else's Holocaust. We're going through a continuous Holocaust. Health, corrections, criminal justice. We in a perpetual HELL. I want to get to heaven. Why can't I have heaven on earth? Why do we got to die before we get heaven on earth? I mean, a lot of people are having heaven on earth right now. The 1%, they living real good. You know what I mean? I go to the stores. I can't even find no toilet paper. I can't even find nothing. Poor folks don't have nothing. Everybody's hoarding. I would just wonder why it. Yeah. I mean, really. Honestly, you know what? We really need to have a serious dialogue. After this, a serious dialogue, because Trump, he passed the hemp laws. The farm bill. We really gotta look at this legalization. I got a big old flyer yesterday. This hemp company coming here. They got 5 stores. They got buds and everything. Green buds. They got green buds. But it's CBDs. They help with your body. See. That's God's medicine cabinet. Yeah, CBD. Herbs. Herbs. They got different names for it. They call them Blue Dream. They call it. They got different names for it. Yeah, Gringo. Yeah. So it's here though. It's here now, and we need to not be consumers. We need to look on the other side on how we can be producers, cultivators, and retailers of that product, because it's God's medicine. I brag every time I go out to Vegas. See, y'all brag off the sinfulness. Nah. I focus on the good side of Vegas. I go to a store called Herbally Grounded, and then I call it God's pharmacy, because when you walk in there, oh yeah, it's beautiful. You got all the herbs from all around the world. Oh, and it heals different parts of your body. Yeah. I said, this is God's pharmacy.
I want to go to that pharmacy.
I said, this is a bad pharmacy right here.
I got some health conditions. I need to give me some.
It got no side effects. Strands. It has no side effects. God pharmacy don't have no side effect. But if you do eat too much, was it turmeric? Turmeric.
Yep.
Yeah. If you do, it could be harmful. You got, God, take a teaspoon.
I just found that out the other day. Remember, some months ago, I was saying I was doing that and with the tea and all of that, and then I read it was like you can have too much turmeric. I was like, yeah. That is crazy.
Well, too much H2O, it will kill you.
That's what I was going to say. Too much anything can kill you.
Yeah, except for oxygen.
Yeah, this is true.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, we need that. That's critical.
That's the only thing I know for a fact, that you cannot get too much of. You can't get too much of that.
Big facts. Big facts.
Especially if you run, if you're an athlete, boy, you need that oxygen. Yeah, kid. And you cannot have enough of it. That's the only thing I really know that we can't get enough of is oxygen, y'all. But everything else is in moderation.
In moderation.
Mhm.
That's right.
Everything else is moderation. Food, even exercise. Even exercise, you got to rest your body.
Yeah.
You got to sleep.
Yeah.
But the only thing I know of is oxygen. Even food, you got to take a break. Body got to digest.
Yep.
And you got to go. You got boo boo. Some people got boo boo.
Yep. Some people do got a boo boo.
But so even that. So the only thing I know is oxygen. The only thing that I know for a fact when we sleeping, when we awake, is oxygen. So get all the oxygen you can. Also, another thing is vitamin D. Well, even you only get so much photosynthesis. Oh yeah, let me get to the science in me, the photosynthesis. Because like I said, if y'all white, black, brown, black, if you go outside, if you get a little tan, I don't care if you're albino, you still are our family. Yeah, we love you too. Sure.
We love you too. We love everybody.
Yeah, we love everybody. We're all family. That's the point. I'll be sarcastic, but that's the point. When I said that people are white, black. If you're white and you go outside, you get a little tan. You're black, y'all. Come on, now, admit it. Yeah, you're brothers and sisters. You're just a little light skinned.
All right, come on in, sir.
So I'm always joking, but sometimes when we in a cultural society where it's ultra racism. And sometimes we use the dialogue of we want to come mad at the oppressor.
Right. Okay.
We want to get mad at the oppressor. But I learned early, I love the preachers. Everybody think I'm touching on preachers, but I love the preachers.
All right.
And so the preachers brought this one lady in, Miss Nash, 2 years ago at the annual Martin Luther King dinner, and she participated in the civil rights movement. And she talked about that that it takes two people to participate in a system. Oh, she's a bad sister, older sister, probably like 80 something, looking fine. You know what I mean? Looking fine, 80 something.
She had to be black now.
Okay, you know how it is. And she said that it takes two people to participate in a system: the oppressor and the oppressee.
Oh yeah, you on the roll.
Oh yeah. And she said the oppressee has to make the decision not to participate in the system. She said, so what they did in the 60s, they said they got tired of participating in the system. Okay. So what they did, they said, of course, Martin Luther King, for my family, I'm beating my heart. Oh yeah, I'm beating my chest. Oh yeah, I'm Kong King. And so Martin Luther King, the spokesperson, right? But people don't know he was just a spokesperson. Okay, he was the minister, but actually he was powered by the millions of people behind him. All the churches, all the churches. White churches, Muslim churches, the streets. Everybody was behind him, but he was a spokesperson. So Miss Nash said it wasn't a Martin Luther King movement. Nah, even though he gets the "I got the dream" speech. No, he said this movement is about the people. He said all the people participated in freedom. Everybody got activated from the youth. The youth sat in. The youth made sign. The youth was the physical part of it, and the adults were the planning, the teaching part of the plan. So if our neighbors weren't educated, they educated them in the process. Right. They met. All it means we're in the churches because that's the only place where they can meet. So that's why I'm tough on the church, because everything started with God. Everything started with God in our midst. I just that's all my readings. Almost every slave revolt started from God. It started with some natural phenomenon. Or my sister Harriet, she'll black out and then she'll be talking to God while she's blacking out. Oh yeah, she's bad sister. And then she said a prayer. I don't know if y'all seen Harriet Tubman. She said a prayer one time about her master because her master saw her sister. Oh, the sister said a bad prayer. She said, God, please kill my master. Kill my master. Kill him. And you know what happened?
What happened?
The master
died. The master died, and the son heard her prayer, and the son was kind of scared of her after that.
Like,
Because the son grew up with her. You know what I mean? But after a while, he said, "Well, I'm master. I got to beat you."
all right.
But so greatness, God was always around. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
God's always so. See there we go. There you go. There you go. The
There's the
son.
son.
Oh Lord.
They was always talking.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. I know we're right, y'all. See how God we talk to you. See, you got to see the sign. See, he get light. The sun got bright. Oh yeah, yes, son. Keep doing it. I got the daughters in the house too. You know, so I got the PK kids.
The daughters of the sun.
Yeah, got the daughters in the house. So
Right.
Gotta have, because it's Women Winning Wednesday.
That's right. It is Winning Women Wednesday. Keith, why don't you show some love to Facebook? Bring them on in. We got you on YouTube. Shout out to our YouTube viewers and our listeners. We never want to forget about you. Good morning. You are now tuning in to the Boss Morning Show here at 95.7 The Boss. Yes, I got some energy now. I'm rested. I'm back. Because, man, I've been working. This is yours truly, Martine.
And your girl Staso. How y'all feeling this morning, boss listeners?
What's going on? It is now 7:30 a.m. We got guests in the house. So you make sure you keep it locked in here, 95.7 The Boss. King, let's roll out with a song. I need some motivation. And the music is what motivates me and heals me. So I need to hear my tune real quick.
What you want to hear some gospel?
Black Power, of course.
Black Power.
Hey, keep it locked in here, 95.7 The Boss. Boss with us.
Sherman Wells, we need a new track. We love Black Power. We need to get a new radio edit up here.
Well, he did send me a new track, but I can't leave Black Power.
No, we're gonna keep Black Power in rotation. I just like him as an artist. I would like more music.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to Sherman Wells.
Sherman Wells, y'all, Black Power. Oh yeah, I keep telling y'all, if you're white, black, brown, black, you black.
You black.
All my life, I don't have no real enemies, but I know everybody is not a friend to me. I show my people love, that's why I always get it back. And I stand up for my family, one phone call I will attack. And real recognize real, so I don't see you haters. And I'm not talking about my brothers, I'm talking about these snakes. They smiling in our face, but turning us against ourselves. Killing all the black kings to keep the queen from getting out. We 40 cal, self-trained, so we don't need the army busting down my door. I wish these martial law try me. We some psychopaths raised in the projects, and I ain't met a yeah, who can dodge a tech? Hey, cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man. This shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The Islanders is born in America, being black. Hey, cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us, born in America, being black. They call us militant and racist cause we still resist the brainwashing and genocide by this government. My people waking up and now at least we more conscious with plans of unity, but still we must proceed with caution and breaking the cycle of thinking like slaves. Gather up knowledge and nurture your brain to change the situation. Death is what our race is facing. We in a nation where they shoot us first, ask questions later. Black lives mean nothing in their eyes, we just a perpetrator. And marching that's not doing nothing. We tried it Martin's way and still our people struggling. It's time to educate and elevate from all the hate. Our future generations is at stake. We don't have time to waste. Cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us, born in America, being black. Hey, cause this the year of the Black Power. We going all in, man, this shit is ours. Hey, we moving forward, ain't no turning back. The odds against us, born in America, being black. Black power, 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 black.
This is
Omaha, Nebraska. We appreciate you guys chiming in this morning. Good morning, everybody. Brother Davis, oh yeah, be running stuff. We be running stuff without a doubt. I do got a smart sister in the house. They did bring someone in to challenge me this morning. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I mean, when you come on God level, oh yeah, I consider everybody challenged. Yeah, on the G level, so she's looking pretty in the red. She wearing boss colors. I can't beat nobody that's wearing boss colors though. That red and black, that red, black, and white. Oh yeah, I have to yield. I will yield this morning because she's a boss-ette. Oh yeah, without a doubt. Oh yeah, she's on that level. I know I wore the king for a reason because I had to let everybody know the power that's coming this morning. We're gonna be talking about the participating. We're gonna be talking about participate in the system, and I'm gonna slide this way because y'all need to see me. There she go. Oh yeah, she look like. Oh yeah, not Tonto. No, not the Lone Ranger. She's Miss Terri Crawford. Oh yeah, she's from this community. We're gonna use her wisdom today. Oh yeah, we're gonna borrow her wisdom. Oh yeah. And also, we're gonna brag off our neighbors because we have smart people in our neighbors and we love to brag off them for real, and then suck up all that knowledge. Oh yeah, because everyone is a library.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Everyone is a library of knowledge, and it's important that we pass it on. I'm so proud of us during this time, even though everyone is sick and shut in per se.
yeah.
Everyone is experiencing what the pastors say. Remember the sick and shut in. Everyone is sick and shut in right now. So this is a time to come together, but also this is a time of knowledge because we can make a change during this process. We could come out of this better, similar to like a caterpillar, going through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know how these stars are, Omaha. They got their own nouns, verbs, adjectives, prepositional phrases, all yes, and predicates to introduce themselves. And then, she comes from a powerhouse of sisters behind her. And so we just want to recognize her without doubt. So go ahead and introduce yourself, mademoiselle, and then we get right into the dialogue. How you doing this morning?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so glad to be here this morning. Just let me start by saying this. Thank you for the shout out to my colors because I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay.
All right. Shout out to the Deltas.
Right. It's our second one for the week. Hey.
Political awareness and involvement chair. So that's very important to me that we be able to have this conversation about political involvement within the community.
Okay.
I am also policy director for the League of Women Voters, which we really need to be more involved in that organization in our community. And I'll talk some more about that in just a minute.
Okay.
Through the University of Nebraska at Omaha, I also have an opportunity to engage with students on a regular basis. I'm adjunct faculty in the Department of Black Studies.
Okay. At UNO?
At UNO, yes.
Okay.
So we get a chance to have these conversations all the time in the classroom setting. So I'm glad for that opportunity as well. But let me start here. I don't believe that you can criticize or compliment any process if you haven't participated and there has been no engagement on your part. We have a tendency, when I say we, I mean me and my people, it includes me as well, to criticize a great deal as to what's happening politically, but we got to be involved in that process. We have an obligation, an ancestral obligation to be involved in that process. So I've had conversations with a lot of millennials in particular about why I should be engaged in the process, why I should participate in the process. I'm old school, and I know that I stand on the shoulders of individuals that died for me to have this opportunity. So I have an obligation to participate.
Right.
So we are now in voting season. We have been required to take a pivot as a result of COVID-19.
Okay.
Every person that occupies space on this earth has been required to pivot.
Right.
It's an uncomfortable space for every single one of us, but we cannot lose our focus as to what this voting season and what the census means to communities, particularly the term that's used is people of color, but I'm talking about Black folks.
Okay.
People who look like me, because we have to now take our position because we are pivoting, but there's also a shift in the paradigm as to what our communities will look like on the other side of COVID. And we got to get prepared for it.
Absolutely.
One way to do that is to engage in this voting process.
Okay.
So in Omaha, Douglas County, today is the 29th of April.
Wednesday,
the 29th of April. This is Winning
Women
Wednesday.
Yes. Shout out to all the women, the ladies out there.
For the invitation on Winning Women Wednesday. I appreciate that. But time is important. Dates are very important. May 1st is the last day for you to mail in your request for an early ballot.
So can people still get a ballot then?
Absolutely.
Where can they get a ballot?
There are several ways you can get that ballot, or at least the request for the early ballot.
Okay.
So what you do is download the form. It's my by mail early voting ballot application. It is on the Election Commissioner's website. You can download it, print it out, and it has to be in by May 1st, which is Friday.
Okay.
You can drop it off at their drop boxes at the Election Commission, which is now on 120th and Center Street, right off of Center. Or you can have it postmarked by May 1.
Okay.
Now, this is significant because of this pivot that we're in for COVID.
Okay.
Normally, we would be out milling about. People could go to the libraries and other places to get this application.
Okay.
That opportunity does not exist for us right now.
Now, let's rewind that again.
Okay.
They can still get their mail-in ballot.
Yes.
And where can they get their ballot at again?
They can go to the Election Commission's website.
Okay.
And download it. But it should be available also for those who can get out into the community. There are places like, I ride around with them in my car. So I will drop them off to individuals.
Okay.
And there are several other organizations and individuals.
Okay.
I would recommend, though, that you go to the website, download it, fill it out, and mail it in, or you can drop it off.
Now, if they have a barrier, if
Yes.
they can't read, is it okay for someone else to read it for them and help them fill it out?
Absolutely, someone can read it. They have to fill it out.
Okay.
And they have to sign it.
Okay.
But absolutely, you can have someone assist you.
Okay. All right. Great. Do we have the number to the county commission? I mean, the election commissioner office, just in case anyone has a question or need directions, or will they email it out to people? Is that possible?
They can email it out to people, but here's the information.
Okay.
The phone number is 402-444-VOTE. That's 444-8683.
Okay.
There's also a fax number.
Okay.
And in a lot of the towers and a lot of some complexes where they have a business office, you can fax it to them. That number is 402-444-4181.
Great.
Address?
Yes.
The Election Commission has moved. The new address is 12220 West Center Road, Omaha, Nebraska 68144. There's also an email address.
Okay. Oh, so they can't email it.
You can email.
Okay, great.
That email address is earlyvoting, all one word, at votedouglascounty.com.
Right. Now, before we came on air, you indicated that we have an obligation.
Yes.
Why do we have an obligation?
Here's my position on that, Mr. King and audience that is listening to this. Each time I walk in a room, I walk in with 10,000 and sometimes 10 million people whose shoulders that I stand on. So I think about chattel slavery and Jim Crow and Right now, it's mass incarceration.
Right.
And all of those individuals that paved the way, that made it possible for us to sit here and be able to have these conversations, I owe them to be able to make sure that I vote, that I disseminate information, and that I assure participation in the process.
Right.
We owe it to them. Ancestrally, we owe it to them.
I like that. We owe it to them ancestrally. I like that, without a doubt. And that's the ultimate price.
Absolutely.
The participation of continuous struggle for freedom.
Yes.
And this is just one of the processes.
Yes. What it also allows us to do is to correct the narrative, because for so long in our history, someone else has told our story for us. They have told it incorrectly, and we now have an opportunity as a result of this pivot that we're in to correct that narrative.
Right.
One of the ways to do that, the second point why we're here today, is because of the census.
Okay.
Now, I've talked to a lot of individuals. Again, I'm old school, so generationally, I am in a different space than a lot of the individuals that I have these conversations with.
Okay.
So we talk about, why is the census important? Why should I allow them to count me? One of the things we have to talk about, I think, to have a full conversation is our historical distrust of our government.
Right.
That is valid, that distrust exists.
Right.
We know what happened in Reconstruction. We know they rescinded 40 acres and a mule. We know we had the Tuskegee and everything else that we can talk about in our history. We have a reason to distrust our government. But the flip side of that is our ancestors distrusted, but they engaged.
Right.
They engaged in the process.
Right.
They engaged in the process for generations. And again, we have that ancestral obligation to continue that legacy from here until eternity. We have an obligation to do that.
Without a doubt. That's why, people ask me why I say new Negroes,
Right.
or new masses.
Right.
Because they stop in the process of freedom.
Right.
They've got comfortable, they got their remote control, they go in their house and they really don't know their neighbors. And so we have to continue the struggle. We have to continue to fight, because I got a grandson and I know I want his life 10 times better than mine, but I have to work at it now, not when he gets my age.
Right.
We have to start. You're absolutely right, William, that you have to start with young people. Have those conversations in our living rooms.
Right.
About why we do this. I talk to my grandkids about it all the time. In fact, we don't sit down and watch TV or anything that they want to watch on television until we can have these conversations as to, okay, why are you going to this meeting now, Nana, is what they call me. Okay, why are you doing voter registration right now, Nana? I take them with me. We sit down at the table.
Right.
They watch me register individuals to vote and talk about why this is important.
Right.
A lot of kids may not have that luxury to do that. And that's why each of us have an obligation out in the community to do this, not just with our own and our household,
right,
but with the full community.
Right now. So people say mentoring, is very important. Boys Club was very important to me. Wesley House was very important to me.
Yes.
Some of these other organizations, Project Embrace, CETA, all these organizations or programs were significant in one's growth. We actually have to continue that. Step Up is doing their thing. I know we're going to be having some kids over here, hopefully pretty soon. If all this virus stuff get past us, but man, it is so necessary. Are you sororities getting together? Because I know Black media's gotten together.
Right.
The Black ministers have gotten together. The Black leadership have gotten together. Have you guys coordinated the sororities or fraternities, even on a collective level? I know you guys doing your individual thing, but have you guys even started that kind of dialogue?
Okay, let me say this. Collaboration is part of who we are as Deltas, and I believe that's true with other organizations, Greek letter organizations, especially Black Greek letter organizations. There is a collaboration in the community at this time, which I believe was the brainchild of Barry Thomas, who is an Omega.
Okay.
It is VREAM, is Voter Registration, Education, and Mobilization.
Okay.
So it's a collaboration of fraternities, sororities, and other community organizations. Prior to COVID, we were hosting the candidates forum, and 2 years ago it was on Metro's campus. It was the first time that we had a Black candidates forum on that level at
Right.
Metro Community College. And we're planning to do it again this year, but of course that pivot put us into a different space. So to answer your question, yes, there's lots of collaboration that goes on a regular basis behind the scenes, without accolades, without media, because that's what we do. We do it with a servant's heart and a responsibility to our community.
Well, in order to change the narrative, we need to brag a little more.
True.
We need to let people know, so we could change the narrative, because people's perception is that the Greeks are just doing Greek things and not community service things.
Right.
And it has to be exposed. People have to know about it so they can participate in your organizations when they go to college.
And just let me be clear, I don't want to speak for any Greeks other than the one that I'm a member of. And I can't speak for the entire organization, but I can tell you what Terri Crawford does with that hat on and other hats in the community. We just did our candidates forum online last night through the Nebraska Democratic Party Black Caucus, a total of 7. I have been the moderator for 3 of those 7. We have one more that's going to be completed on Thursday of this week, and then that'll be a total of the 7. So we've done that. I'm here today with you. Every day we are out knocking on doors because we need people to participate in the census.
Right.
And maybe we can pivot back to the census. Talk about why this is so important this year. One of the things that needs to happen is there is the distribution of, if you go to the Complete Count Committee in Douglas County, they are projecting that about $675 billion will be distributed based on what has been determined, the allocation based on the count. So this census, just like every other census, will determine for the next 10 years what type of funding will be used in this county or distributed in this county.
Right.
We see lots of construction and other things happening, particularly up and down 24th Street. There are other things that will be needed after COVID-19, after the smoke clears and we do the assessment. So we need to be able to determine exactly where those dollars are going to be going.
Right.
And if you don't count the people, then there's not going to be what I would like to think would be an equal distribution.
Yeah, equal distribution.
Yeah.
Of funding.
Yes.
There's a fear tactic out there, and I always recommend that everyone participates. So if you're undocumented, if you got a green card, if you have even a visa, if you're even over here on is that one of those educational waivers, you still count. You still need to count yourself. They go to addresses, not to people. So when you receive a census letter, it's coming to the address.
That's
and
right.
you just report to people that's living at that address.
People that are residents at that address. And they don't have to come to your home. That's the last phase of all of this. You can do it online, you can do it by phone, and then lastly by mail.
Right.
So we want to assure that all the individuals, particularly, again, I can only speak to the Black community because I'm Black. So I want to speak to my community first, because historically we have not been in that position.
Right.
So I need to talk to my community first, and then to other communities that are also, like you said, my brothers and my sisters. But I need to deal with my family first.
Without doubt.
Yes.
Every time you fill out a census, it represents $2,000 per person per year. That represents $20,000 per person over 10 years that comes back to this community.
That's right.
It goes to all the infrastructure, education, it even goes towards block grant funding, TIF dollars. We can leverage our population.
That's right.
In order to get those dollars for government. That's why voting is so important. And that's why all this is tied together.
The two are connected. Here's the other thing that we rarely have a conversation about is our brothers and sisters that are incarcerated. Right now in Nebraska and many other cities across the country, we do what's called prison gerrymandering. So wherever they are housed, say for instance in Tecumseh, but they came out of Douglas County, they're going to count you for purposes of the census in Tecumseh. So that means
and not where you live
money, not where you are from.
No, this is where you living at.
Yeah.
Obviously, because you're in that prison, so you're in Tecumseh. Okay.
But technically speaking, if you look at the Constitution for the state of Nebraska and any other constitutions, what they define as a residence for purposes of a census, your residence is your place of regular abode, which means where you live before you were arrested. A jail cell does not fit the definition of what a residence is. It can't.
Interesting. Based off of Nebraska Constitution?
Nebraska Constitution. And here's the other thing. This year in the legislature, there was introduction of a bill, and I believe it was Vargas, I'm pretty sure it was, that wanted to address this whole issue of prison gerrymandering. Because if we think about the brothers that are down in Lincoln, that are in Tecumseh and other places, and if we can count those numbers for Douglas County, then we're going to get more of an appropriation of funding for purposes of development and other programming and everything that we need federally in the counties where they are actually living.
Yeah, because right now, presently, that's how the census work. They count you where you are, so they count those prisoners in that county. So those counties are getting those numbers.
That's right,
and they're getting their funding.
And if you think about where prisons are located, they're located in rural areas.
So you're assuming that the prisoners came from Douglas County?
Many came from Douglas County, and this is across the country. So
they in Leavenworth, Tecumseh, they're all over the place. And while we're on the subject of that, I just want to give a shout out to the family members and the people that yesterday in NSP, it was a big gang fight yesterday. A couple people that I do know, one of them got stabbed in the neck yesterday, and then someone died. So it was a big gang fight that happened yesterday. And I'm kind of concerned. Someone that it's like a father figure to me. He called me early yesterday morning. Everything was fine. The next thing I know on Facebook, 30 minutes later, it was all over the place. It was like the KETV. So check on your loved ones, make sure that you're doing everything out on the outside to make sure that they are taken care of on the inside, because they're not getting treated properly. These riots are busting out at these prisons because there's a delay on their order normally, because they're running out of things to give them. So when they order every week, and I believe that's what a lot of the riots are come behind, because they're not getting treated properly from the staff. And they're not getting to the doctors if they need to. Like, they're putting it on there. These guys got phones inside the prison. So you really get to see what's really going on from the prisoners themselves. So shout out to NSP and the prisoners there. I hope that you guys are getting it together from the episode that happened yesterday, because it was very disturbing, to say the least.
I want to thank you for saying that, my sister, because I was at the office yesterday and we got this information about, we have something more than a grapevine in the Black community that we find out about things really before the news media does. We absolutely do, but it's always been that way.
Yeah.
It's always been that way from the time we arrived on these shores in Virginia.
Yeah.
We've always had an informal way of communicating with each other. And this is information that came to us at the office of work at a Black firm.
Yeah.
So of course we got the information through the network.
Right.
But I didn't see a lot of information about it on the news or in the newspaper.
Exactly.
Or anything.
It was
again
noted once. That was it.
When we don't control the system, we don't control the media in that system. And when you're talking about poor people of all ethnicities, prisoners, they really don't care. And so that's the really truth behind. I'm a former probation officer, so the best thing, if you're free now, stay free.
Yeah.
You're not going to be treated equally in jail.
Right.
This is just the facts. Only way it's going to change if people outside of jail advocate different policies for prisoners in jail. Right now, the only thing that we're really doing is whining and complaining and praying. I think we needed to pray that we could find someone to develop legislation.
There it is.
I think ain't nothing wrong with prayer, but we need to pray
for
like
what we
Terri.
really need.
No, I mean like a Terri or someone that had that knowledge, that had that background, that could draft different bills, legislation to give to Senator Wayne and our new senator that's going to be coming from District 11.
Yes.
And so they can advocate. This is how the system works.
Absolutely.
And so the only change is we gotta write the change.
We do. And here's the other piece of that. As we're talking about voting and participation in the system, we have conversations all the time in my class about why should I vote and what else that does for me personally and for my community.
Right.
So we talked about having a jury of your peers and what that looks like in a place like Omaha, Nebraska, if you will end up with jurors that look like you.
Right.
Well, one of the things that allows you to be one of those jurors is if you are on the voter registration rolls, because that's where the names are selected from. So if you haven't registered to vote and you're not on one of those voter registration rolls in any county in Nebraska, then you will never be selected as a juror.
So I'm glad you went over that myth because you always say, well, I don't got nobody to represent me that live like me. But y'all telling y'all brothers and sisters don't vote. It don't make a difference.
Yes, that is so true.
Make a difference.
Yes.
We have
like
I get tired of hearing that.
Well, it's called, the song's called Self-Destruction.
No, he did take it.
Self-destruction.
Yeah, because we're doing a lot of self-destructive behavior.
We do.
Maybe it's the adults. Maybe we didn't pass on that knowledge.
Yeah.
Maybe, like I said, it's our responsibility now.
It is.
And that's why I always say we don't participate in the ignorance. We're bringing experts like yourself so we can be informed. And this is the second teacher in a row because professor.
Awesome.
Actually, we had Miss Herbert. She teaches real estate. And so we appreciate the knowledge that we have in our community, without a doubt.
Like you said, Bill, we do have to pass the knowledge. I think that's extremely important. That takes me back to a conversation that I had with my sister about my mom about why she never taught us certain things when it comes to like credit and buying a house and, buying land and things like that. And she said because her mom didn't teach her that. So how was she able to teach me something that wasn't taught to her?
That's true.
So I have to make sure that I'm spreading that knowledge to my kids by me learning it. And I learned from other people in my family, even though it wasn't from my mom. I still learned from my aunties and some of my first cousins. So I still got that knowledge. It's just that it didn't come from my mom. And I just want to know, well, why you didn't teach us the things that me and my sister are into? And like she said, it wasn't passed down to me. So I think that's extremely important to pass the knowledge down to so the kids or your family, whoever you're passing it to, understand.
That's right. Dissemination of information and participation in the process.
I love that.
How can people get in contact with you? I mean, what else do you do? I know you got a side hustle.
I don't know if I call it a side hustle, but I consider myself to be an artist.
Okay.
And I really have to give a shout out to Celeste Butler if she is listening to us.
Shout out to Celeste
I took Celeste's class and I fell in love with quilting.
Okay.
And quilting is in our history. It's what our ancestors did to be able to communicate with each other. So I fell in love with that. And there's a whole artist community, and we can have the conversation about the union and other things that's happening.
When we have artists, I believe artists are going to be the ones that get us out of this pandemic because they have vision.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what happens in the Harlem Renaissance. So we have so much talent in all arenas in this city that we have to collaborate as artists and make sure that, number one, the information is poured into our young people as to how valuable they are and what their history is, so that they don't hear that negative narrative. This is a time for us to do it because we're homeschooling now. This is the time for us to be having those conversations with our kids.
Without a doubt. Changing narrative, y'all. This, like I said, this is an opportunity to, this is a new beginning. God has reset the earth. You know what I mean? And so it's up to us to so-called repent, per se, and lead a new life. How can people get involved with your sorority? Because you guys volunteer a lot.
We absolutely do a lot of volunteering in the community. And I just want to say that we have an organization called, a program, I should say, that's called the Delta Gems. The Delta Gems are young ladies that are in high school.
Okay.
And this year, I want to make sure I get my figures right, or at least get close to the total amount. I think we had about 60 some girls that were involved in Delta Gems.
Now, is that from representing all different high schools?
Yes.
Okay.
all different high schools. There is a process on the front end of that where the person who is responsible for the Delta Gems, her name is Tracy Newby. So they have conversations with the schools and relationships with the schools throughout the fiscal year for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. They do things like fiscal responsibility and what it means to have a FICA score and why that's important. And we do things about like sex trafficking, make the girls aware of what that looks like in conversations and domestic violence and relationships. And then there's also a portion of it that's a book club where they read books and then you have a discussion about it and just all types of things for all of these young women. And what happens after that is they share that information. So the following year, our numbers may double. And the following year, they may triple. So that has happened for all of the years that I've been a Delta, which has been 10 years. But Tracy Newey, I believe, has been a Delta for over 20 some years. And they'll be mad at me because I'm not getting my information exactly right on numbers, but charge it to my head and not to my heart. Right. So there's lots of volunteering that goes on with all Greek letter organizations. And I think you're right, William, because people don't necessarily know what is going on with these Greek letter organizations. So there's the perception that is elitist and only those individuals that somehow have an attachment to sororities and fraternities. That's absolutely not true. We all do it with a servant's heart, and it is our responsibility to give back to communities. And that's why I do what I do with political awareness and involvement.
I want to mention something really quick. One of my Facebook Live viewers, which happened to be my cousin, Colette Minifield, she said, "Is that Dr. Crawford?" I said, "Yes, cousin, you know of her." And she says, "Best teacher ever. She taught Brown versus the Board of Education class at UNO, and she's very knowledgeable." So I want to let you know that that's what she said about you.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, well, you know, we bring smart people up here, you know. That's what we do.
This is my passport cousin. This one have been everywhere. I'm serious.
Absolutely. Brown v. Board of Education is one of our classes I teach. I'm going to give myself, when you said we don't toot our own horn.
Brag on you.
Toot on my own horn, right?
Go ahead.
So I do it all. This is a class that I wrote, and of course, Dr. Cynthia Robinson is the chair of Black Studies right now. So under her tutelage, we've been able to kind of fine tune some things in the Black Studies department. One of those was writing of the class for Brown v. Board of Education, because there's this whole history about Thurgood Marshall and his team, and NAACP, and the community involvement, and those cases that was a culmination of several cases that became Brown v. Board of Education. One of the things that I'm finding at the university level is this information is not being disseminated in the high school curriculum. So we have lots of students, not just in our county, but from out of state Nebraska, that do not have an idea.
Now, that can be taught at the high school level, right?
Absolutely.
It's easy.
It absolutely can be taught at the high school level, but we need the inroads, and we're working on it. The inroads, because they can get dual credits for lots of classes, and many of our high schools where they are taking college credit along with their high school credit. So it could easily be done. Absolutely.
Without a doubt. Terri, anything else that we didn't discuss? Because I mean, you got a lot of wisdom out there. You got your
I just want to give you some dates.
Okay, you got your bonding. I mean, you got a lot of wisdom out there.
Some dates. Of course, I gave you the deadline of May 1 to get in your early voting application. May 1, that is on Friday. May 9th is Saturday hours for early voting. This is something new. From 9 to 1 at the Election Commission. May 12th, again, is the primary. So the polls are open from 8 to 8. We know there are going to be lots of individuals that won't be able to make it out to the polls, but I will be working the polls this year because I think we can anticipate that there may be some shenanigans. So I will be one of those people working at the polls. And then May 24th is the day for verification of provisional ballots. And there will probably be lots of that as well because of COVID. People have been displaced. Provisional ballots will be the way to address that.
Can you explain, Dr. Crawford, what does provisional ballots mean?
Okay. Just briefly, provisional ballot is something that normally will be used, say you show up at the polling place and they don't have you listed at that polling place. Maybe that was your polling place the last time that you voted, but for some reason you've moved or something else has changed or something happened with your registration. You show up at the polling place and they don't have you listed. If they do not have you listed, then you can ask for a provisional ballot. You fill out that provisional ballot that is mailed in, and then they review it to verify it and determine whether or not it should be counted. And as long as it's verified and all the information is correct, there's no reason for it not to be counted.
Okay.
And they give you a card with the number so that you can check on the status of your provisional ballot.
Okay, so you go and you can pick it up and then go back home and
fill it out
and mail it, or drop it back off.
Take it in. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
I know President Love indicated that we probably can drop off ballots at the Washington Library. Is the library open now?
All of the libraries have drop boxes.
Okay.
So whether or not physically you can go in, you do have the opportunity to drop it off at those boxes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what we're referring to was the mail-in ballots. If you can't mail it in, you can take your mail-in ballot. It's a drop-in box over at Washington Library, 29th and Ames.
That's right. And remember, if those are your early voting ballots, Friday's the day, May 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sure, I can leave forms
Okay,
here, the ones
good.
that I have, but
Okay.
anybody can copy them and just reuse the forms. So I'll be glad to do that.
Okay, so they make copies, and
Yes.
so it's just really accessible, y'all. So you can online,
Mhm.
email it back. You can call the election commission and actually request a ballot.
Mhm.
They can probably email it to you. You can fill it out, email it back. It's really easy. This process. If you don't have access to internet, you can have them email it back to you, and then you can drop it off at the library.
Yes.
Any other questions, ladies?
I wanted to ask again, can you just kind of repeat May 9th? What is that? I've gotten early voting, but what is actually happening on May 9th?
Okay.
Because we know May 1 is the deadline to get
May
your.
9th is the Saturday hours for early voting.
So
That's from 9 to 1 at the election commission. So that's the last day.
For early voting.
Yes.
So they can actually come in and drop off their ballots, the early voting ballots. Is that what that is?
That's for in-person voting.
In-person voting.
At the election commission, May 9th. And you can go to their website. All of these dates are listed on the Douglas County Election Commission website.
So right now, people actually can go to the election commission itself and vote
And
there
just vote.
physically right now. Is that correct?
Well, that last day for what this is just,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm clear. So May 9th, Saturday hours for early voting.
Okay, so for that particular day.
Yeah.
Okay,
Voting.
okay.
9 to 1. And if there's any questions about any of these dates, you can go to the election commission website. Everything is listed there. And I realize not everyone is going to have internet access, particularly in some of our zip codes in our community. I get that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But if anyone needs assistance, then you, of course, can call the commission. There are individuals that are available in the community. And again, I know that we've had limitations on movement in our communities, but just check with your neighbors, check with individuals in your neighborhood. I'm one of those people, and I'm sure there are others in every neighborhood that's willing to help. And Preston Love is one of them.
Yeah, without doubt. And it also, since this is a mail-in ballot, just talk to your post person.
Yes.
Yeah, just talk to your post person that's in your neighborhood, and they'll tell you the best advice. This is how you mail it. And they'll tell you the process as far as the mailing part.
Sign that envelope. It's so important. Sign the outside of the envelope. Otherwise, they won't count it.
Okay, great. So use the envelope that's actually that they send with it, so you can actually sign it so they can validate it.
That's
Okay.
right.
And again, the new address, so people know, is 12220 West Center Road.
You go, girl. Yes.
Oh yeah, I have one of those memories.
Yes.
We have a comment on Facebook Live, Dr. Crawford. Sophia Jordan. Good morning, Sophia. She says, hello, Miss Crawford.
Hey, Sophia.
Good morning, Sophia. Oh.
So again,
Good morning, sister.
So again, the phone number is 402-444-VOTE. If people want to call in and request assistance, if they do not have transportation, they don't have internet access, because what's going to happen, I hope that it doesn't in a large percentage, is we're going to miss some people because they don't have access to, and we're not moving around as as a result of the COVID-19, but they don't have access to be able to get this information. We're putting out a lot of dates. It could get confusing. Phone numbers work well for people that just don't have access to internet. They can't email. They can't, You know what I mean?
Yes.
They can't get around, so they can call, and there's a representative in the neighborhood that can stop by, or what are you saying?
Well, I know Precious is involved with Noah. It's the neighborhood association, and so all neighborhoods have their association. So that probably be one avenue. I think associations have a pinpoint person that's kind of like
that would be good,
like a political captain.
You're right. Precious McKesson will be a really good source for the neighborhood association, and also because of her involvement with the Nebraska Democratic Party. But this is nonpartisan. We know that.
Yeah.
But yes, she would be a good resource, and I'll be glad to leave my number with William. Not on the air, but leave it with William.
I know that's
if anybody has any questions or anything, please feel free to contact myself or others in the community, and we will do what we can. Like I said, I drive around with these in my car, but we only have till Friday of this week.
Yeah, we gotta get going,
get in,
and get it out.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Omaha, Nebraska. We appreciate you supporting us this morning. Terri, you are necessary, without a doubt. So stay healthy during this pandemic. Of course, you're color coordinated. So I know you're gonna be all right. I know you're gonna be all right.
Crawford.
Thank you.
So, but yes, you are necessary. I'm glad you guys are reaching back into high schools and got your Delta gyms. I think we ran into some of them over at North, didn't we?
I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure. Oh, absolutely.
I think over UNO too. So, that's great that you guys are teaching the next fruit that's coming up.
Absolutely.
You guys are necessary. Omaha, Nebraska. It is 8:15. It is Winning Women Wednesday. Show some love to the woman in the house. They birthed everybody. And so we just want to show some gratitude from cooking during this process, teaching during this process, nurturing during this process. Oh yes, and loving us during this process. We just want to give them some extra attention as we move throughout the day. So if you got a woman that's special in your life, your mother, your aunt, your spouse, or your companion, just call them. And just out the blue say, I love you. Oh, and they start crying. I love you so much. I'm telling you, that's a winner, guys. That's a winner. You'll be good all week. She'll forgive you for everything.
Ladies, don't listen to Bill.
All right, Omaha.
Well, speaking of loving each other and checking on each other, we really do need to do that, because people are suffering in silence. Some people won't speak up out of just pride, but we want to just kind of reach out to them. We don't want to wait for them to call us if they need something. Call and check on people. But what I really want to focus on is our teenagers, our young adults, I should say, that are eligible to vote. Dr. Crawford, if you could just address them in terms of the importance of voting, and that their count matters. Can you speak directly to this group of people that don't think that voting matters? They think they may not be counted in the census for whatever reason. They're living here, moving here. We need their votes as well, and we need to be able to count them in the census. Can you just kind of get their attention? What could you say to get their attention?
Well, these millennials.
Yeah, they on a whole nother level, and we need to be able to speak directly to them.
There are a lot of them that are in a different space, and I understand some of the disenchantment with the system. I absolutely get that. But here's what I would say to millennials. I have this conversation with my son all the time, who is a millennial, and we have this lively debate about your participation in this process. I started this conversation this morning by saying we can't criticize it, and we can't even compliment it if we didn't participate. You have nothing to complain about if you didn't participate in the process. I understand how we are disenfranchised with this, but we don't want to do it to ourselves, because there's enough other obstacles that disenfranchise us. We don't want to do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
Local politics are important, even more so than, well, I won't say even more so than what's going on with 45, because that's important too. But local politics touches and concerns our lives every single day. So it's important who's in the county commissioner's office, and who's down at the legislature, and who's making decisions regarding whether or not we got raggedy streets, or whether or not our sidewalks are not in compliance with ADA.
Right.
We need to make sure locally that we participate in politics find out. We got a young man who's running right now, and I'm not trying to shout out any one particular candidate, but I think Mr. McKinney, who's running right now,
Terrell McKinney,
he speaks a voice for young people. Get to know him, get to know his platform. What are young people doing to participate in this process? And once you have an opportunity to do that, what I hope will happen is that it engages you not just to vote, but also run. So if you're not satisfied with what's going on in the legislature, on the school board, or on any commissions, then you run and you speak for your generation. You can do that. It's absolutely doable. So I would say your participation is more important than anything else.
Great.
I just said that yesterday.
And
I told my
participate
husband.
in a jewelry pool.
Yeah.
Be
I
a
said, you
part
have
of
to
the
vote.
process.
I said, don't say nothing about the holes in the streets, the wheel tax, how much anything costs if you're not making a difference locally. I don't want to hear it.
Participate, absolutely. And we have an obligation to do that for our brothers and our sisters that are incarcerated.
Yeah.
That's right.
We have an obligation.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford.
Omaha, Nebraska. We've been listening to Miss Terri Crawford. She represents everybody. She represents everybody, you know, especially those deltas. But she also represents the League of Women Voters.
I just want to be clear, because as far as
You might as well just keep holding that mic.
as far as protocol is concerned, I do not represent the deltas, but I am a delta.
Okay.
I wear that hat on a regular basis, and I only say that because everybody who is part of an organization knows only the president can speak for the organization, and I'm not the president. But I am a proud Delta. Everything I do with my Delta hat on, but I wear several other hats in the community, and that includes the League of Women Voters, getting out, disseminating that information.
Without a doubt. Yep.
Are you born and raised in North Omaha?
Oh, I didn't talk about that.
Okay.
I am part of what my friend likes to call the indigenous people of Omaha.
Okay.
Born and raised here, went to public school. I went to Kellum, I went to Webster. So I am deeply entrenched in what goes on in North Omaha because I am a sister of North Omaha.
So you know the gossip. That's why I say all the time.
I know the grapevine.
You don't have to read nothing. you don't have to read nothing. You just make a phone call. Okay. Yeah, so,
where all the bodies are buried. Absolutely.
Where did you say you went to high school at?
I went to Tech High School.
Okay.
Now,
All right.
our Tech building. That was my high school.
Yeah, man.
So you're not a transplant or a guest?
I am not a guest here. I'm part of the indigenous people. My soul is here. My people's soul is here. My mama was born here, and my grandma was
So it goes
born
back
here.
3 generations?
That's
Omaha,
right.
born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay.
My
Nice.
children were born here, and so far, all of my grands have been born here.
Okay.
All right. So
Omaha,
that's why you
Nebraska.
say indigenous natives
right.
here at Omaha.
That's right.
African Americans living in Omaha.
That's right.
That's
Five
awesome.
Generations in.
5 generations
Five
in.
generations
That's awesome.
in. Yes.
There's
So-
not too many families here in Omaha that can say they go
No.
back 5 generations.
No.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He hasn't said anything, but he's got a story to tell about his family.
Well, who are you
And
talking
Omaha.
about? Let's put him on camera. Who are you, sir? Introduce yourself.
My name is Sundi out of Menelik. I am with this indigenous queen, Mother Supreme, that I've been knowing since I was in the 12th grade. I'd like to shout out to my cousin,
All right.
Sherman Wells.
That's
I'm
your cousin?
Wells
Yes.
McGee.
Black power. This
Yeah, we have a very large family here. My great grandmother was 102.
Oh, wow.
The McGees. I'm sitting here because I wanted my sister to flow with the information that she's flowing with.
Support her,
And,
yes.
yes, and we'll be coming with some new information. I'm an adjunct faculty
That's awesome.
at Metropolitan Community College.
All right, shout out to MCC.
I'm also the adjunct for construction, adjunct professor. I teach construction.
At MCC. Okay, so you're rocking the MCC gear.
Advanced emerging technology. So we're
Gotcha.
dealing with aviation, robotics.
So are you in the Cape building?
Yes, I am in the Cape building.
All right.
And,
has taught inside the walls.
yeah, I was teaching in OCC and youth prison out at Carter Lake for the last 3 years.
Oh.
So, you know, There's a lot of stuff going on, and I really don't want to get into it right now this morning. We'll take it.
Okay.
Well, big shout out to you for allowing those.
We'll take it at another time, but the main thing is we need to take this. I'm executive director down at the Bryant Center, executive director of Tuskegee Airmen, president of Mad Dads.
Oh wow, that's
And the people will say, well, what are you guys doing? Well, when we emerge, you will know what we're doing. We've been working behind the scenes, doing a lot of things. We are in partnership and collaboration with some of the strong organizations here, one being the Empowerment Network and the Step Up Program with Willie Barney. And we are really getting ready to do some things. Some things are better left unsaid and just done. You know, we do a lot of talking, but a lot of action. Everything speaks for itself. But the one thing that we need to understand that this coronavirus is
coronavirus, COVID-19
is very, very serious. Don't listen to the lies when they say that it don't affect Black people, because if you check it out across the country, the whole nation, a lot of Black people are dying because they don't want to listen. So when you go walk around today and you go into the stores and you see nobody that looks like you taking it serious with a mask on and this, a month from now, you might see it should have been taken serious. Yeah. Because it's a silent killer. And what we need to do, we need to really take this very, very serious. There's a realignment going on in the world right now. Nothing will be the same. You can forget about it.
So let's take advantage of it. Let's make that money, without a doubt, in this new world. Let's pivot. Let's transition. We are the wisest on earth. I only know one structure that have made it through time. And it's the pyramids. Everything else has fallen, crumbled.
You are absolutely right, King.
But the greatest things that we built have still stood the test of time. And so we come from greatness. Let's continue to manifest the greatness. We see example right before us. It's in our neighborhoods. It's in our homes. Let's just recognize it.
Understand the power and knowledge connection. Absolutely.
We have a Facebook Live comment. Karen Krause Culliver, thank you for your comment. She says, come through, brother. This is the stuff the media does not put out there. All of the strong, positive leaders in our community. Thank you.
Good morning, Karen.
Thank you, Karen.
Without doubt. Well, we appreciate you. You are necessary. You're welcome Black again.
Very necessary.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome Black again. Because this is going to be a long election, as well as we're going to continue to remind people about the census. And so you come back once a month, bring all your other friends, girlfriends, so we'll be all red and black in here, all red and black. Yeah.
Shout out to the Deltas that I know, Elaine Adams. She's a Delta. Shout out to her and Angela Thomas. Yes. I talked to those two ladies quite a bit.
And so shout out to Alicia Shelton. We had her here the other day.
Yes, that's right. She's also.
And I got my sign in my yard.
Yep, I did get my sign too. Yes. Yep, she's also a
Absolutely. I cannot thank you guys enough for having us this morning to have this conversation. I always relish the opportunity to disseminate this information. Yes. And I realize we are in this space again where people are in survival mode, but we also have to make sure that we keep our eyes on the prize, as Martin said, because this election can make or break us, and census will lock us in for the next 10 years.
Yeah,
it's all very important.
Well, go ahead.
Yes, you can, my brother that wants to be on the camera now.
No, because my sister, I know.
He's been on my camera.
So, but this is the thing. If anyone listening needs to have, what is that, the form brought to them?
The ballot, the mail-in ballot?
Fill out. If you get in contact.
Yeah, holler at me. My number is 402.
We will make sure that form will get. We will make sure that form will get to you. Okay. So, and we have to act. We can't procrastinate because we live in the twilight zone, but we got to turn the TV off in our minds.
Yep.
Because this is real now.
That's right.
And when that snake starts slithering and start standing up and walking, it's a different picture.
Okay.
And the snake is in its magic move.
That's right.
Shouts out to my girl LaDonna. She said good morning. She said blessings to everybody on the AM panel. Without doubt, knowledge is supreme, y'all.
That's
Without
right.
doubt, knowledge is
It's
supreme.
And we have to keep repeating this to our people because we are hard-headed. We don't want to listen. We want to wait to the last minute to do things. The deadline is Friday, y'all. Omaha, Nebraska, take this seriously. Get your ballots, early vote, do whatever you need to do. Call if you don't have a transportation, you don't have internet, call somebody. You got a phone, most likely, or you can walk next door to somebody who has a phone. Remember what we did back in the day before we had all this, technology. You walk next door to your neighbor and ask for sugar.
That's right.
So ask for help.
And
just
let me say, the polls will still be open. So those of us that choose to go to the polls, protect yourself with a mask and gloves when you go. I will be there because, again, I owe it to my ancestors to walk in that place, in their shoes, to even in the midst of COVID-19. I want to walk in the place. But I also need to make sure that I'm protecting Terri and protecting my community.
Yes, stay wise. Stay wise.
And speaking of polls, Dr. Crawford, I think I heard that they're looking for people to man the polls. Is that true?
Call the election commission. Because there's a process that you have to go through to be trained to actually participate as either a poll worker or supervisor or in some capacity. You have to go through that training.
Okay, so if there's people that want to be a part of that process,
contact the election commission.
Okay, gotcha. That's good information. Good morning, Lena. She says good morning, everybody. Good morning, Lena.
And the election commission is 444 vote, right? 402-444 vote.
Very easy. 8683. That's it. You are welcome.
Omaha, Nebraska. We appreciate you guys. It is 8:30. We're gonna let y'all jam for a little bit. We're gonna take some pictures, capture this history. Again, voting is so important. It's connected with the census. The census is very important. It's connected to voting. Both are connected. We have to participate. It's a responsibility. It's an ancestral responsibility. I like that, ancestral. She made me even smarter.
Bill gonna use that word again.
Bill
gonna use that word too.
Take it back. Ancestral responsibility.
I love that.
We're gonna tell y'all tomorrow too. It's y'all ancestral responsibility. We're gonna tell you Friday too. What's the time to cut off for Friday?
Yeah.
Deadline.
You have until their office closes, which is at 4:30.
4:30 Omaha Friday.
Tell them show up at 3:30.
Don't do that. don't do that.
It has to be postmarked or dropped off.
Right. By the first. So that's postmarked, meaning you have to have it postmarked at the post office that you're mailing
before closing. Okay.
So if it's May 2nd, you late. It's over.
Right.
Don't be late to the party. Don't be tardy for the party.
So after May 2nd, you have to go in physically and vote. So
and there's a Saturday opening on May 9th from 9 to 1 p.m. at the election on Center Street, West Center Street.
Also,
12220 West Center. Okay.
Also, I just want to remind you guys, there's a lot of polling sites that were in OHA towers. A lot of those have been moved because we have a lot of elderly in those towers. And so call your election commission to see where they probably combine your polling site with someone.
What are they going to do for those elderly that can't get out? The election polls.
You mean the ones like disabled or like physically
in
can't?
Our towers.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Is there a plan?
That's a good question.
Well, the hope is that they were able to do these applications for early voting.
Okay.
But we don't really have any way of knowing that until the count is in. And that's why it's important for us as part of that ancestral responsibility to check on your neighbors.
So you mean to tell me if some of these OHA towers, we can't check to see if maybe there's ballots there that have been passed out? We don't know if that's been done. We can't find that out.
There is a way to check. And again, you can call your election commission, or if you know what tower in particular you want to check on, then check through OHA as to what they've done as far as supplying these to those individuals that may be homebound, maybe wheelchair bound, or whatever the case is. Right now, I don't have that answer.
Okay.
But we certainly can find out.
I know we was on one of the leadership call with the Empowerment Network and Saul, who works for OHA. Yeah, Saul work, and I think they're working on some things like that.
Who is also part of a Greek letter organization.
Right.
All right. Shout out to Sal. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
That's my buddy.
One more thing. If you really want to feel the power of the vote coming from our ancestors, go to YouTube and pull up "What's in Your Hand" by Adam Clayton Powell. Adam Clayton Powell. What is in your hand?
All right.
Adam Clayton Powell. What's in your hand? This is serious. It's in our hands now.
Without doubt.
And then if you don't use what's in your hand, then turn your hand over. Because you're not getting anything.
Not to laugh, but that's the truth. Seriously.
They'll come begging after we do all the work.
All right, my brother.
Also, I want to give a shout out to Tech because my niece was the last graduating class at Tech High School. And I had some epic battles against Tech. But y'all was always sweet. Y'all always came out sweet.
Bill talking about basketball again?
Oh, basketball, man. I'm telling you,
basketball, football.
sweet. They come out sweet.
Yeah, the Tech.
I came out the track and field out of Tech High School. I won't tell you what year.
Yeah, what year, Gary?
At least not on the air. But we had some outstanding athletes and also I'm sorry, that's my phone. But we had some outstanding athletes, those that are involved in the political arena, in every arena you can think of, that came out of what was then the only Black high school in the city of Omaha.
Right.
So I was there when they had junior high. I'm dating myself.
What?
They had junior high. It was 7 through 12 at one time. And then during the era of busing, they took out junior high. They bused me out to Lewis and Clark, and that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah. I went to Lewis and Clark. Yeah.
And then I came back to high school at Tech and graduated from Tech.
Okay. I just wanted to just give some history because he is from this community. And Tech High, oh man,
History.
Tech High.
Yes.
Great.
One more.
One more time.
I went from Kellum with Miss Fletcher. My desk was in the principal's office at Kellum. So I went from Kellum to Tech, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and then I became an Eagle. But
Central.
Hey, we like the Eagles. We like the Eagles.
I was at Tech. Tech was definitely the anchor, and everything that Tech was doing then, they're trying to do now at the Tech building, but they only have 60 students there. And I want to give a shout out to my great uncle, Mr. Haynes, because he was the coach of the basketball team when they had the famous riot when they used to hold the high school tournament here in Omaha. After that riot, they transferred back to Lincoln because there's a lot of history. But Mr. Haynes was the coach of that team.
You said that was what kind of baseball?
Basketball.
Sorry, my uncle played baseball with Mr. Haynes back in the day.
They had everything at Tech. They had baseball, basketball,
everything.
swimming. They had track, field. Tech was the premier school in Nebraska, in Omaha at the time.
They set the stage.
And it had all the tech. It had auto body, mechanics.
Yeah. All the trades.
Yes, all the trades.
All the trades. So when they closed it up in 1984.
Haynes. I love Mr. Haynes.
Yeah, who was also retiring this year from the school district.
I better put some respect on his name.
Right. Okay.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to have his party.
I'm a Viking.
But we're gonna have to do that later. Creative.
Yeah, we're gonna be creative about it and salute him out the door. You know what I'm saying?
They had some guy turned 102. And he went online and said he was 102. They had a continuous stream of traffic past his window for I think 2 hours.
Oh wow!
So Mr. Haynes deserved more than that.
That's right.
I want Mr. Haynes everything to be after the coronavirus and the COVID-19 is over with, so he can have a a proper home, celebration of, because give his flowers while he's here, okay? And do something real nice. If it's during this time, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be online.
Well, we're going to get back to health.
That's right.
The best way to get through this is to take care of yourself, physical health. Make sure we watch our diet. Let's talk about the numbers of survival. There's 98% of the people that survive. 98%. And so I know how the media is, and it's called the fear of crime. And how they create psychosis in people's mind is that even though it might only happen maybe 1% of the time, like murder, they broadcast it 98% of the time. And so I just want us to just move through our day with peace. 98% of the people with the coronavirus survive. I just want to change the narrative because every other platform is talking about death. I work for God. Honestly, God, I work for God. And so I'm talking about the greatness of God. And 98% of the people survive. Now, the people that are passing, it's unfortunate, but it's up to us to be wise, use our common sense, and not go around older folks in our family if we're younger. Make sure we can practice good hygiene that the older folks taught us.
Yeah, right.
I mean, so we gotta use our common sense so they can stay alive. Also,
I've seen some survival. I've seen people that's older that has survived COVID.
Yeah, but
older people. It was a 98-year-old woman. I want to say somebody that was 102. I seen a baby, an infant survive COVID-19. So even people with
they had the X on the door.
Exactly.
They had the X on the door.
So it's people that they said that couldn't survive or high risk are really surviving. So I've been seeing a lot of "I survived COVID-19" like banners in front of them. So shout out to the people doing what they're supposed to do and surviving it and getting through it.
We also have to be, interested in how they're putting on those death certificates. Well, I've been reading that they're slapping COVID-19 was the cause of death when that's really not the case. Again, hyping up the mentality and the scare.
I heard that too.
Scare tactics around. Yeah, so we have to.
But in the black community, I think we got to be suspect. I mean, and I'm not a
conspiracy
theorist,
right? No, it's facts.
We know what they do to the indigenous people, and then I want to give a shout out also to the Muskogee Creek people in this country because my grandmother, I just found out a couple of days ago, was part of the Tears, the Trail of Tears, and because my father and on my father's side, everybody's from Bowie, Oklahoma, and I just found out that my mother, that my grandmother was Creek. So a lot of things we're connected to that we don't even know, and Hollywood has put us with Kunta Kinte when we were already here.
On that note, William, you mentioned that you work for God, but we were all created in the image of a creator, so that means we are God.
Right down.
We just need to step into our position, and
we
now
need to
is
realize
the time
that
for us to step into position.
Right down.
It's time.
Right down. I appreciate you, sister. You are necessary, and you should brag a little bit like me. I brag a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I work hard to for this, and then I try to surround myself with good people.
Yeah.
And I don't surround myself with yes men and yes women. So people are saying, "Well, you're not doing things right," and those are the neighborhoods I grew up in because that is a sign of love.
Yeah.
And real quick, Dr. Crawford, do you still have your law practice?
Right now, I'm not currently practicing, although I am in a firm. The firm does predominantly personal injury. She is from Alabama, so she's not from Omaha, but she does have a Nebraska office, an Alabama office, and one in Denver. So anybody who is engaged in, yes, absolutely.
All right, now.
That's all I do.
All right, now. Okay. She's out here for
any people who's involved in a personal injury accident should call us. It's called Collins Law Office, and we're right over in Midtown. So you should holler at us.
All right, personal injury.
Yeah, what's that number again?
The number at the office is 402-884-2960.
All right. So if you need help with personal injury claims.
Any personal injury, it could be a catastrophic injury, truck accident. It could be a motor vehicle accident. It could be a slip and fall. Any type of personal injuries.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Omaha, Nebraska, we appreciate you chiming in this morning. We're gonna play a little music, and then before we get out of here, it is 8:43. It's gonna be a beautiful day today. I think it's in the low 70s. So go out and get your vitamin D on. Oh yeah, get your vitamin D on. The parks are open. Shouts out to our governor, our mayor for relaxing the rules. I think it's gonna be even more relaxed Monday, and so people can start going back to church. Prayer is needed. Prayer is needed. Prayer is needed. So Wednesday probably be the first day of where people actually go back to church. So make sure you wear your mask, your gloves.
Yeah, be mindful.
Don't be too quick to get out in them stores.
Right.
Just because they're opening up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them go.
Take your time.
Right.
Go to get the test run. I have an immune problem.
Okay,
go see how they do first, and then
if you do have an immune problem, stay out, stay home.
There you go.
So sometimes you guys show some love.
Yeah,
it is a Winning Women Wednesday. Make sure you reach out to the woman in your life, that special woman. Let's call them, say hello, I love you, and start crying, fellas.
Crying again.
I'm telling you, you get breakfast, you get some lunch.
You call me crying. I'm gonna say, who told you to call me Bill?
I said, I love you, girl. Oh, I love you. I miss you.
He done did this.
I'm telling you, because it's man. Sometimes they birthed all of us, y'all. They birthed all of us. So sometimes you just gotta get some love, just because it's necessary. Terri, brother Suniata, appreciate you guys coming and giving us some knowledge. We're gonna bring brother Suniata back because he's an ocean trainer, and so we want to bring some high knowledge in here so we can stay safe. Also during this pandemic. So Omaha, we're gonna take a break. We got about 16 minutes. Anything else, ladies, before we go off air? Any other questions?
I do, because I did a love thy neighbor moment the other day, and I had to let her know I did a love thy neighbor moment because that's what we practice here at 95.7. I went to pantry. Ain't no shame in my game. I'm going to the pantries. I have 2 sets of twins, and I don't care. I went to 24th and Work. They have it Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. You pull up. You don't have to show no ID. You just tell them your family size. You fill out this little demographic, little short sheet real quick form, and then you just pull up. They just pile it all in your car, and I'm serious. I left with big meat, like a lot of meat. You don't normally see that in pantries. It's mostly like canned goods. So being the love thy neighbor that we're practicing, I told the girl across the street that my kids play with all the time, because that's what we're supposed to do. And she went the next day and she was able to get a lot of food. So that was my love thy neighbor moment. And it was at Heartland Ministries. And that's the same place that you can get in contact with once you call 211. That's one of the places that's helping with people with rent right now, with shut off notice for OPPD and MUD. So not only can you get your pantry there from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's today, people. Pull up, get that free food now. And it's fresh too. And they got fruit. Okay. Fresh fruit.
Y'all need to eat fruit.
But you can also, you can also get in contact with them again if you need help. They're not doing any help with deposits right now. They're only giving help with rent and with OPPD and MUD shutoff notice. Right, and we know they're not shutting people's stuff off people because of COVID-19, but still, don't you want your bill paid? You know what I mean? Because they're not going to shut it off. Still get some help if you need the help. So that was my love thy neighbor moment, Bill. Well, I helped out my neighbor, and she was able to go to the same pantry.
Appreciate it, because I went to the pantry this weekend and I had some extra food, and I kept a couple things, and I took to my homeboy house. Got 5 kids.
See?
And he told me yesterday they've been cooking some stuff up, cooking all. I said, dang. I said, y'all made the potatoes like that? I said, dang. Because they had the guys some little potatoes.
Yeah.
He said the girl cut it up and they put butter. I said, I didn't think about that kind of stuff. So see, that's why we gotta have the women around, y'all. Because men, we wouldn't survive, y'all. I know. It'd be
just meat.
Okay. All right. He good. He good. Right. Mamas teach your sons how to cook, please.
Yeah, I know.
My husband say the same thing. My mama taught me how to cook. I'm gonna survive.
Okay. Hey, I do not make some tuna fish. I know how to make tuna fish.
I'm all right with that, Bill.
Okay.
I love some
I know how to make
fish.
I know peanut butter and jelly.
I love peanut butter
and jelly. I know how to boil an egg.
I love some eggs.
I can survive. Hey, I know how to make some toast in the broiler.
All right, Bill. You ain't too far off this. I just want to say, Omaha, Nebraska, make sure you come. And if you need a ballot, we have some here at the station. I want us to be a station of resource where they can come pick up a ballot, maybe to take it to the neighbor that can't get out, but still be able to get their vote in. So thank you, Dr. Crawford, my brother here, for bringing this wealth of knowledge and leaving some forms here with us, some ballots here, mail-in ballots. Again, Friday is the deadline, 4:30 p.m. if you want to drop it off in the office, or if you want to mail it in, it has to be postmarked by the 1st.
Our address is 2314 North 24th Street. I'll leave it downstairs in our black mailbox right outside our station doors. Just go in the mailbox. We ain't gonna get y'all because our mailbox is slot. But yep. It makes copies and then we can grab right there.
All right.
Okay. Kinko's open.
FedEx.
Hopefully the libraries will be open in the next coming weeks. Hopefully we're here. I know they're gonna be liquor restrictions.
We need this done by the 1st. So
yeah. This done by the 1st.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right. Omaha, Nebraska. Again, we appreciate you guys supporting us. We're gonna play. Since we got legends in the house.
Yeah.
We got legends in the house.
That little squad.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah, you know we're gonna bring that because we were legends. We got like 5 legends in here. 6.
That's right.
5 of us.
Boss with us.
I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm like Bruce Lee. When I enter the dragon, girl, I'm like Tech 9. When I enter, I'm like Spike Lee, cause I do the right thing. Boy, I'm like Chief Keef, cause I'm gang. I am just like Malcolm, get it by any means. I am just like Martin Luther, even though I'm a king. I am Huey P. Newton, I'm black, I know I got the power. I am Hannibal Lecter, all these beats I devour. I am Wiz Khalifa, I've been smoking back to back. I am just like you, I've been getting bad. I am just like me, I feel like ain't nobody better. I am just like Flame, but you know about what I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again, I'm a king, I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again, I'm a king, I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. Yeah, I'm perfection. How you gonna kill me? Nigga, I'm the weapon. I ain't worried about the killers. I ain't worried about the hitters. I'm worried about money and how we gon' get it. I'm rich. I'm full of them bags. I'm just like Hawk. I'm known to smash. I crash the beats. I stump the streets. I'm just like August. I'm known for heat. Fresh out the pot. I'm dripping with salt. Key to the whip. I'm known to take off. Squad the team. We all go off. But I'm totally dancing. Now who's the bomb? I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a
bloodline, son of the sun. I'm fully melanated, black power, fist in the sky, fully activated, captivate the mass when I speak. Every head bow indigenous, glorify king, oh precious man child, Blackfoot, color of copper. I came from the dirt, legendary, mine in the sky, my body's mother. Walked through the valley of death and came out a king. Joseph, they ain't cut from my cloth. I saw so many dreams. I'm in the den with the lions. Now they calling me Daniel. I went to sleep as a passion. I woke up as a pharaoh. No longer will I walk. I'm riding on a camel. Zulu warrior, bow and arrow, eyes on the spirit.
You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a legend. You and me are not the same chick. Bloodline again. I'm a king. I'm a king. Yep, I'm a legend. If I die right now, I'm a legend. I'm a
Jackson. Omaha, Nebraska. Oh yeah, it is 8:52. It's going down, y'all. It's going down. We legends, all of us. We'll keep the music rolling, y'all. It's gonna be a beautiful day, y'all. I love this song too. This is my man, oh yeah, Wisdom. We need a little wisdom right now, y'all. Yeah, without a doubt. He's all over the world. I'm surprised he made it back from Europe. And he a brother traveling all over Europe. Man, he's trying to do this thing. I hear you, brother. Wisdom. Boss with me.
10 toes down, 2 eyes in the sky, with one heart that beats proud to realize I'm alive. I made it, that's what I say the times that I should have died. But Lord save me, is what I pray for the inside of my mind. I'm having daily shouting matches with the devil. What you want from me? To try and break me down on every level, then be done with me. See, ever since the day you took my mother right in front of me, it's so clear. A line of blood with no fear is what I pump and bleed. Friends that were never truly the family who never knew. Yes, the fact of no one having my back has been noted duly. For real, it's not a movie. This life I live is my code to do on sinner. But the veins of a winner are flowing through me saying,
gotta run away to a place where I can be myself. Cause I don't wanna stay in this space where I can barely breathe. Not another day, not a second, minute, hour, oh no. Gonna keep me safe. If you feel it, come and sing with me. Run away.
Let me be the first to say that if I had the chance to leave, I'd pack my bags and run away. Like Forrest Gump, if life's a box of chocolates, I can't get a taste. Kit Kats, I got bars, but I can't even catch a break. To kick back, had a moon walking like Mike Jack. Cause when I get put on the map, ain't no telling how on that. But life had a down, wasn't even real, and I was on fast. Just like my big brother told me, get the f up and fight back. Ain't got no top of no flack. No, make sure that paper gets stacked. No good, well, it ain't no day in hell killing you in rap. Tying up my bread 11s and I get to stretch. I'm about to taste a blessing. If you started placing, I ain't even stressing. Said I couldn't have it, so I'm about to get it. Yo,
gotta run away to a place where I can be myself. Cause I don't wanna stay in this space where I can barely breathe. Not another day, not a second, minute, hour, oh no. Gonna keep me safe. If you feel it, come and sing with me. Run away.
Omaha, Nebraska. We're gonna keep it rolling. That last song again was by Wisdom. This is my man Jay Keys. He actually be in church paying the keys. Boss with me.
It's an everyday struggle just to get by. This ain't playing, gotta get by. Doing my grind, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by, I'ma get by. Nowadays rolling too deep. Me and my partners be coolin'. Grinding to get it and stack it up, rack it up, split it up, blessings we doin'. Kids be asking what's up. I'm trying to stay out the way. Head on the swivel, I'm watching the walkers that push on your soul every day. I'm dope. I'm so organic. We pushing product. What? We set the standards. Every day you gotta elevate. Always be pushing to get more. Always be listening to intuition. I promise to God you'll get more. It's an everyday struggle just to get by. This ain't playing, gotta get by. Doing my grind, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by, I'ma get by. Breaking the mold, man, I'm different from most. Pops had a hold on my head, bro. Soaking the game up until I came up to a time when I needed to flip mode. Niggas be asking what's up. I'm trying to stay out the way. Swinging and switching lanes with the thing. I promise my mama I'll change, but I'm dope. Hey, I'm so fantastic. Hey, you see the drip, where you can have it. Hey, hey. If you really want to get up and get it, my nigga, there ain't no excuses. Look at your life, and if you ain't satisfied, trying to change up the deuces. It's an everyday struggle just to get by. This ain't playing, gotta get by. Doing my grind, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by. Get by, I'ma get by, I'ma get by.
All right, Omaha, Nebraska. We about to get out of here. It's 8:59. Oh yeah, man, we got it going on. It's hot in the station today. It's gonna be hot outside. So get outside, enjoy the day, man. What a beautiful day. We're gonna keep it rolling, y'all. Get your hustle on. Get that special lady a call. Say hello, I love you. And start crying, fellas. Oh yeah. I don't care if your mama, she gonna cook for you. You know, I mean, if your sister, you know, your sister, she'll cook for you too. So cry.
One day I woke up, I ain't had no pocket change. I took my game up, then all of my pockets changed in the midst of the night. Well, in the blink of an eye, my man Central switched over like a sketch Gemini. There's only one rule, gotta get it how you get it, man. I work the boulevards like yo, pulling char day, bro. Sitting in a big body counting live stacks, living for the moment, working the buildings that me and back. My money keep stacking up, I'ma keep on adding it up until every day, man, faces tasting the rubber band. I got bags to fill up, homie, bag up. Before you fall back and get it by the free charge. I can stay at 100, so rollers look right past. If they stop and top the block, I can just ride past. Motivated for more paper, let me show out on you haters. This matter down the mother, cause I hustle harder than made it time.
I can hear the streets calling for me every night to hustle long.
And I feel like
and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. I hustle hard.
I go hard for what I know. The streets they already know. The finest VIP spots, the finest cars and the clothes. I went from housing and food stamps to D-bags and price tags. Dream about the day I cop a phantom hum to an ice jack. Attract massive, skrilla like bananas, I feel you. I don't pop pills, just bottles and college with skills. Can't quit my day job next time I pull my exempts. I can't quit my day gig cause I ain't touching me yet. I rise hours before the sun with my head in the sky still. Praying for bigger days, hustling better ways. I get swallowed by city lights. Empty my shine, get right and with that alone. I can't tell my days from my nights. I keep my eyes on the prize and I keep my head in the cloud. 1 foot stuck in the gutter and I'm trying to get out. I found out no matter who you is or what it's about, you hustle stacks and flip back until they turn the lights out like.
I can hear the streets calling for me every night to hustle long.
And I feel like
and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. I hustle hard. I get my hustle
so hard and good, no good, so good. I can say it feels so good at this point to be no good. All I ever wanted in my life was respect and the money. Now that I got it, I'm tired of running and ducking. You feel me, cousin? Flipping it like the flipper in charge, just like the skipper, like T-Pain. I'm sprung to these streets. Rhyme as the stripper, no punch lines and gimmicks. Embrace the game like an infant, make the streets and the industry. Feel me? It must be the spirit of every rapper that be in me. My caliber is full, so I just bust until I'm empty. And it's a rude awakening for the ones that's mistaken me for that one, and they never gon' get it, cause I ain't good enough, right? Nightmares come daily, my hustle, they keep them faded, I'm smooth. Operating like I did, be slinging. The matter of fact, I'ma go ahead and leave and let my bro sing and they feel kinda sank.
I can hear the streets calling for me every night to hustle long.
And I feel like
that I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. I hustle hard, I get my hustle on.
Statement on 2020 Census Operational Adjustment. The 2020 census is underway and more households across America are responding every day. In light of the COVID-19 outbreak, the U.S. Census Bureau is adjusting 2020 census operations in order to protect the health and safety of the American public and Census Bureau employees, implement guidance from federal and state and local authorities, ensure a complete and accurate count of all communities. The Census Bureau temporarily suspended 2020 census field data collected activities in March. Steps are already being taken to reactivate field offices beginning June 1, 2020 in preparation for the resumption of field data collection operations as quickly as possible following June 1. In-person activities, including all interactions with the public, enumerations, office work, and processing activities, will incorporate the most current guidance to promote the health and safety of staff and the public. This will include recommended personal protective equipment and social distancing practices. Once 2020 census data collections is complete, the Census Bureau begins a lengthy, thorough, and scientifically rigorous process to produce the apportionment count, redistricting information, other statistical data products that help guide hundreds of billions of dollars in public and private sector spending per year. In order to ensure the completeness and accuracy of the 2020 census, the Census Bureau is seeking statutory relief from Congress of 120 additional calendar days to deliver final apportionment counts. Under this plan, the Census Bureau would extend the window for field data collections self-response to October 31st, 2020, which will allow for the apportionment count to be delivered to the president by April 30th, 2021, and redistricting data to be delivered to the states no later than July 31st, 2021. My friends, the 2020 census data will help our community create jobs, provide housing, prepare for emergencies, and build schools, roads, and hospitals. Do your part and respond today online at my2020census.gov, over the phone at 844-330-2020, or by mail, all without having to meet a census taker. Nebraska, Omaha, North Omaha. Keep up the good work. Every day's game day, y'all.
You may have received the 2020 census form in the mail. It's important to fill it out. It ensures proper funding for public schools, healthcare clinics, and so much more. If you have any questions about completing the census form, members from our community will be in your neighborhood to help. And to make sure you understand your census information is safe, confidential, and important. Like you, we're part of the community. For information, visit nebraskacounts.org. Paid for by Civic Nebraska.
Experienced and knowledgeable. Probably the best words to describe Fred Conley. First serving on Omaha City Council, Fred became council president. He later served as interim mayor for the city. Even outside of government, Fred worked with causes dear to his heart, looking to improve healthcare, housing, and education. Now, with a national crisis upon us, we more than ever need experienced and knowledgeable people like Fred Conley representing us in Lincoln.
I'm Fred Conley, and I approve this message.
Experienced and knowledgeable. Probably the best words to describe Fred Conley. First serving on Omaha City Council, Fred became council president. He later served as interim mayor for the city. Even outside of government, Fred worked with causes dear to his heart, looking to improve healthcare, housing, and education. Now, with a national crisis upon us, we more than ever need experienced and knowledgeable people like Fred Conley representing us in Lincoln.
I'm Fred Conley, and I approve this message.
Statement on 2020 census operational adjustment. The 2020 census is underway and more households across America are responding every day. In light of the COVID-19 outbreak, the U.S. Census Bureau is adjusting 2020 census operations in order to protect the health and safety of the American public and Census Bureau employees, implement guidance from federal and state and local authorities, ensure a complete and accurate count of all communities. The Census Bureau temporarily suspended 2020 census field data collected activities in March. Steps are already being taken to reactivate field offices beginning June 1, 2020 in preparation for the resumption of field data collection operations as quickly as possible following June 1. In-person activities, including all interactions with the public, enumerations, office work, and processing activities, will incorporate the most current guidance to promote the health and safety of staff and the public. This will include recommended personal protective equipment and social distancing practices. Once 2020 census data collections is complete, the Census Bureau begins a lengthy, thorough, and scientifically rigorous process to produce the apportionment count, redistricting information, other statistical data products that help guide hundreds of billions of dollars in public and private sector spending per year. In order to ensure the completeness and